Welcome to one of the largest land reclamation projects on the face of the planet. Before this project began, people here were living on food aid just to survive. But 10 years ago, the hands that were once dry and frail started to change. And that was because of a solution you would never imagine. Today, 500,000 people are getting their food from these lands. Could this work be the answer to ending hunger in Africa and in many other places around the world? Let's try to find that answer together. This is Andrew Emilson traveling across the African Sahel with the world's largest humanitarian organization, the United Nations World Food Program. They are the first to reach hungry, struggling, and needy populations in areas hit by wars and disasters. He went there to witness this incredible work that is tackling hunger, not just on the surface, but at its very roots. When the soil erodes and turns into desert, people can no longer farm or even feed themselves. But what he saw there was that they are working on restoring soil and water across Africa in ways he could never have imagined. This is Africa's Great Green Wall, where millions of trees are being planted across the continent to stop the advance of the Sahara Desert. Yet the places where this work is happening are not places anyone can easily reach. They are extremely difficult to access and require special permissions. But the World Food Program operates wherever hunger exists in the world, and they ask him to join them on this mission to tell this inspiring story, one that not many people know about. In this 4-part series, he will reveal the details of the most important work being done there today. We are now in Niger, Africa, right in the heart of land that has come back to life. It covers 5 square miles and includes 5 different plots where they have planted about 100,000 trees and around 20 tons of grass seeds. The land is beginning to look alive again, but the question remains, will these plants actually survive? The most important thing is making sure that all the trees and grass get enough water. But unfortunately, this is not easy in the desert because this region has what is called a cycle of droughts and floods. Every year, there are 9 months of drought, during which the ground dries up completely. Then, when the rains come in the other 3 months, the soil cannot absorb them. The water rushes in quickly and creates floods in the low-lying areas. However, in the Sahel, they discovered an old method of collecting water called half-moon structures. This simple structure can capture all of that rainwater and store it until the land becomes saturated. There are different types of half-moon structures, and the choice of which one to use depends on their goals and needs, whether they want to create a forest, grow pasture for animals, or simply plant millet. It also depends on whether the soil absorbs water quickly or not. But the basic idea is that they dig a half-circle pit on a certain level to stop the water flowing down from higher ground during heavy rains. Inside the half-moon, there is also a deeper hole called a zay pit, which collects any organic material that comes with the water. In the end, this allows the soil to absorb water more deeply. Often, they plant a tree along with grass in these pits, and other seeds sprout with the rain. Birds and winds also bring additional seeds into the area. So these half-moon structures become gathering points for water, nutrients, plants, and animals. And as a result, the ecosystem grows and comes back to life. This structure is brilliant in its simplicity, but the real question is, how does it work on the ground? The site you see here is only 1 year old, and this other site has the exact same design, but after 8 years. Here, the half-moon lines are full of trees everywhere, and those trees have grown, casting shade on the ground. You can see that the grass is covering the land completely, and there is still water inside the half-moons. For example, this half-moon here is still holding a great amount of water even now. There are different local plant species and a large amount of grass that can be used as animal fodder.
And the temperature here is also lower by about 5 to 8 degrees compared to areas where this work has not been done or the land has not been treated. This is one of the best ways to ensure that food remains available. In other words, to guarantee food security. Because in reality, this is the process of creating a food basket. And when the land is nourished, it will in turn nourish the people. You might now be asking how this work will actually provide food. Let me explain it very simply. When the land is restored, grass grows, which livestock can eat. That means there will be milk and meat for people to consume. In addition, the local trees in the Sahel produce leaves and pods that camels and goats can eat, especially when they are most in need of them during times of drought. So these trees provide shade, stabilize the soil, absorb water, and also feed the livestock. What has been seen so far is very promising, but the site is still in its early stages. At this point, Andro began asking himself, could this system really eliminate hunger? To find out the truth, he had to visit their best site, right on the southern border of Niger. That border is secure, but sometimes armed groups cross it. For this reason, they needed military escorts to take on this journey. Still, it was very important to visit this mature site to see the maximum potential of these projects. What you are looking at now was once barren desert land with a compacted, hardened surface. Water would run right over it without soaking in. There was no organic matter, no plants, and no trees. But today, we are seeing a dramatic transformation of this land. Looking at satellite imagery over the last 7 years, we can see that the area of exposed desert has dropped to nearly zero. These lands have regained the ability to hold water and produce different forms of life. This means there's tremendous potential here for agriculture and food production. And all of this has been reinforced by the full support of Niger's government for this project. Andro even received exclusive information from the head of the forestry department here, who guided him through the entire site and revealed remarkable details.
For example, the impact of this work on the entire region. The gentleman explained to him that this project has truly contributed to the efforts of the Great Green Wall of Africa. What he learned from this progress is that since they are located on the edge of the Sahara Desert, the region is heavily affected by the hot, strong winds coming from the desert, and this could cause the land to dry out again. But the surprising fact is that the shade created by the trees behind them blocks the effect of all these winds, essentially stopping the desert's expansion. Niger is one of the hottest countries in the world, yet the temperature has dropped significantly in areas where there are trees. And not only deep inside those areas, but also along their edges, we see the same effect. The entire project has become a network of life and biodiversity. All kinds of seeds are carried by the wind, and birds also arrive bringing even more seeds with them. We are now in the rainy season, which lasts for 3 months, and the whole place looks fertile and green. You can see all the food that animals eat. But the real benefit of this system actually comes during the drought. For 9 months of the year, the land used to be completely dry and resources were scarce. Yet this diversified agricultural system provides different kinds of food that can be harvested during drought. The local people also confirm this, as they are now growing different crops here, even during dry periods, which are used for cooking and for medicinal purposes. We might think that the Great Green Wall is just a barrier against the Sahara Desert, but in reality, it is much more than that. The Great Green Wall is rebuilding the entire ecological fabric of the region. And when we begin to see this expansion on a large scale, like this massive site and 58 other Great Green Wall sites across Niger, we can see a genuine restoration of the ecological fabric in the region. In this site alone, which covers about 800 hectares, around 3.3 million cubic meters of water have been absorbed into the soil instead of running off as floods. And 15% of that water went down into the deep aquifer and replenished the groundwater table, which remains available permanently. The real impact of this project on people's lives is very tangible. What proves this is that they are now going to visit a new garden in a nearby village to see the effect of replenishing the groundwater. It is clear that the people there are Muslim brothers and sisters. May God bless them and grant them victory everywhere. Over time, the groundwater level here has risen and water has become available. This has allowed them to farm almost all year round. This is just a small garden, an area of only 1.5 hectares, and it is one of 9 such gardens. Communities here have been able to grow crops in these gardens by drawing water from the ground, water that improved thanks to the rising groundwater table caused by the work we saw being done along the entire Great Green Wall. Before this work, 9 out of 10 children examined were unfortunately suffering from malnutrition. But from what we have seen now in the Green Garden, the community is able to produce many kinds of nutritious food, such as vegetables and fruits, which they use in their local dishes. This contributes to better nutrition for the people and their children, and reduces malnutrition, which is the most important part. Over the past 5 years in Niger, there has been an average of 3 million people each year in need of food aid. But during that same period, these projects helped 500,000 people to no longer need that aid. Think about it, 500,000 people eating thanks to 528 projects like this one in Niger. It is clear that this project is successful on every level, but the big question is, how can we scale this project up so that it can actually end hunger across the whole region? In Niger, over the past 10 years, the World Food Program, in cooperation with the government and other partners, has restored about 300,000 hectares of land. When they restore land in this way, they also help low-lying areas because the ground absorbs the water, while also providing excellent protection against winds. So for every hectare they restore, they positively affect 3 times its area.
So those 300,000 hectares are essentially equal to about 900,000 hectares. Niger is a vast country, and the Sahel region is enormous, so this work is still only a small part of what needs to be done. Andro says that they are now beginning to see solutions that match the scale of the problem. Walking through this landscape, you can imagine yourself inside the Great Green Wall once it is fully implemented. The Great Green Wall is an opportunity to transform desertified and degraded lands into food baskets, not only to feed their own countries, but also to supply many other nations across the world. The vision and goal now are how the entire population, together, can achieve this environmental renaissance in sub-Saharan Africa, in the Sahel, or in Niger, so that it becomes an unprecedented transformation that has never been done before. The World Food Program supports these projects in several ways, such as providing equipment, training, food, and money to the people doing the work. This helps stabilize the community while allowing it to regenerate its natural resources. They are able to achieve this in partnership with the government of Niger, which has adopted this idea as a strong vision for transforming the rural areas of the country. This is extremely important for the Niger region, as it allows the land to once again feed its people. That was today's video. Goodbye.